morning to all. Myself, Professor Archana. We are continuing on Module 3 under the topic Fundamental of a Carbon Capture, Utilization and Storage. In the last class, we discussed about soil biological carbon sequestration, and after that we to talk about forest and woodland biological carbon sequestration. In the today's discussion, we are going to start with ocean biological carbon sequestration. So, ocean biological carbon sequestration. So, carbon, a building block of a life, is constantly moving through different environmental compartments such as biota, the atmosphere, the ocean, the soil, and the sediment as a part of what is called global carbon cycle. A change in any of these fluxes could have wide-ranging impact on ecosystem and our climate. Carbon exists in many forms in the global carbon cycle, including carbon dioxide and methane, two prominent greenhouse gases. CO2 exists naturally, but it is also increasingly being emitted into the atmosphere through human activities like burning of a fossil fuel. One quarter of this anthropogenic CO2 released into the atmosphere is taken up by the ocean. So some of this CO2 return to the atmosphere and some is exported to the deep sea, where reservoir of carbon is 50 times larger than that stored in the atmosphere. The ocean provides a vital service to our planet to regulate CO2 level and thereby limit climate change and its impact. However, a small change in the fluxes to the ocean carbon pool could impact the ocean storage capacity and in turn impact the atmospheric CO2 level. So this is the carbon cycle or ocean carbon cycle we are going to discuss today. So what we can see it here, there is a generation of the CO2 into the atmosphere through the running the car, then from the atmosphere, then from the factories, then we can see that from the human we do contribute in that, then there are animal they do contribute in that, then there is a here it is a ocean carbon cycle where this carbon is taken by the ocean. So this we are going to talk that in the detail. So the ocean hold 50 times more CO2 than the atmosphere, and how it happens we will see further. So why ocean are important in global carbon cycle? So this is the question. As we have seen, carbon is an essential building block for life on our planet. All of these tissues produced by living organisms, including plant, animal, and people, are comprised of compounds that contain carbon. So carbon is required for animal and plant cell to function. So it is in our food, in wood and coal, marble and limestone, as well as oil-based synthetic material and fuel. So this is due to the high bonding capacity of the carbon atom. So in particular, it is often contained in compounds with hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and phosphorus. Because of its chemical properties and extensive distribution, carbon is constantly being naturally captured or released, chemically bounded or converted everywhere around the globe. Furthermore, it is involved in almost all of the biological processes in which energy is either produced or consumed. These include, among others, photosynthesis, oxygen respiration, and chemiosynthesis. So this means that carbon is in constant motion and through time migrate through all of the components of the earth system. For the various steps of this journey, which is known as the carbon cycle, carbon requires different amount of a time. So we do talk about global carbon cycle previously. So we know how this carbon cycle work and what is the involvement of the different like atmosphere, lithosphere, then ocean, and how these all are involved by for the carbon cycle to work. Sometimes it is or its component are released through the respiration, combustion, volcanic eruption, or taken up by the photosynthesis process, dissolution in the seawater within a few short minutes. While the other situation, it can be stored for thousands or even millions of years in one location, like permafrost formation of a fossil resources. So these are the part of our global carbon cycle, where we are taking this carbon is getting into the atmosphere from the respiration, combustion, volcanic eruption. When we do take, who takes the carbon? So this carbon is generated by these processes, and carbon is taken up by the photosynthesis process, dissolution in seawater. So if we do see this on the time scale, so this process just takes the biological carbon cycle, it does takes a few minutes and it does take a smaller time scale. But when we do talk about larger time scale or thousands of millions of years, where the carbon get it stored in the permafrost and formation of the fossil resources. So at the same time, its physical state also changes. So how the changes will be there? Carbon in its compound can occur in gaseous form. So in the gaseous form, it exists as a carbon dioxide and methane, for example, or in liquid or solid state also it can exist. So carbon dioxide concentration in the earth's atmosphere, which is of crucial importance for the climate, is determined by various biogeochemical processes occurring both on land and in the sea. These determine whether this greenhouse gas is removed from the atmosphere and stored, that means in the carbon sink, or is released into it, that means as a carbon sources. Now we are talking about ocean carbon reservoir. The ocean is our planet's second largest sink after the earth's rocky shell. It contains around 40,000 billion tons of carbon, the greatest share of which is dissolved in the seawater. With this carbon reservoir, the ocean exceeds the carbon content of the atmosphere by a factor greater than 50. So these two systems are in a state of a constant carbon exchange. So that means atmosphere, and we are talking about the ocean. Moving on, more than 150 billion tons of a carbon in the form of a greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide, move back and forth between ocean and atmosphere every year. So how much it is moving? More than 150 billion tons of a carbon is moving between your atmosphere and ocean to back and forth between. So how much it is moving? More than 150 billion ton of a carbon in a form of a greenhouse gas, that is carbon dioxide. It does move back and forth between ocean and atmosphere every year. So using an atomic weight conversion factor of 3.664, the global exchange of gases annually between the ocean and the atmosphere thus comprises more than 1 billion tons of a carbon dioxide. So because carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere are increasing due to emission produced by human societies, the ocean is also absorbing more carbon dioxide. So what could be the problem if it is absorbing more carbon dioxide? Further we will see what it will lead to the ocean acidification, which we are going to talk further. In contrast to pre-industrial times, it is now taking up more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than it releases elsewhere. The result is that world ocean has absorbed around 25% of a carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere by humans in recent decades, thus significantly inhibiting the progress of global warming. So it is a contributing more for mitigating global warming. An estimated 40% of the anthropogenic carbon dioxide emission taken up by world ocean were absorbed in the southern ocean. The especially great absorptive capability of the southern ocean, however, is subject to large natural fluctuation, which makes a precise evaluation of the balance of the world ocean carbon dioxide uptake very difficult. So this southern ocean is taking almost 40% of anthropogenic carbon dioxide emission. It is taken by the southern ocean. So this ocean is having the great absorptive capability of the Southern Ocean. So carbon dioxide uptake by the ocean occur at the sea surface. So where it starts that when we do talk about where this absorption takes place and how this absorption takes place, what are the different factors are responsible and how this absorption are getting affected, what the different factors are responsible. So let's discuss that. So carbon dioxide uptake by ocean occur at the sea surface where it is dissolved from air into the seawater. Whether atmospheric carbon dioxide is dissolved in water and the amount dissolved depends primarily on the difference in carbon dioxide partial pressure between the seawater and the atmosphere. So simply we can state that this is the pressure generated by the carbon dioxide dissolved in the surface water and that in the atmosphere. So this is the pressure difference we are talking about. So this pressure difference is going to play a vital role for this absorption of a carbon dioxide into the sea water. The natural exchange of the gas between the seawater and the atmosphere always works towards balance of these forces. So this means that surface water with a lower partial pressure of a carbon dioxide, then the overlying atmosphere will take up carbon dioxide from air until the pressure difference is no longer present. That means here we do require the driving force as a pressure difference. So when there is no driving force, there is no movement of the constituent from one side to another side. So this pressure equilibrium process also work in the opposite direction from the water into the atmosphere. So previously it was working from atmosphere to water and it can work the other way around from water to atmosphere. So that means carbon dioxide is getting absorbed into the sea and once it is getting dissolved from sea to atmosphere. What are the different factors which impact this absorption? So the factor we do have the water temperature, salinity, wind, waves, currents also affect your carbon dioxide absorption by the sea. Talking about these two parameters, temperature and the salinity of the surface water have an effect on the amount of a gas that can be dissolved. So if salinity is more, there is a less desorption. If temperature is more, we do have the less desorption. So moving on, the warmer and the saltier the water is or becomes, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb or store and the more it thus tends to release into the atmosphere. So what just now we have seen with respect to this pressure equilibration process, this process will work. Carbon dioxide moves from atmosphere to sea and then it may move from sea to atmosphere also. And when we do talk about this parameter which is affecting this absorption, so we do have a parameter, what temperature, salinity, wind, waves, current. So we are seeing that temperature and salinity of the surface water have an impact on the amount of a gas that can be dissolved. So if we do have the warmer and saltier the water is, or it becomes, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb or store. So that means what, the more it thus tends to release into the atmosphere. The physical principle explains, among other things, why the world ocean releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere in the warm equatorial part of the Pacific, for example, while it absorbs large amount of a carbon dioxide in the cooler southern and North Atlantic Ocean. So that means we do have the more absorption at the cooler southern and North Atlantic Ocean, but there is a, we have, if we do compare that, at the warm equatorial part of the Pacific, there is less absorption of the carbon dioxide. At the same time, if we do take the other parameter like wind and waves, so this wind and waves mix the surface water which effectively balances the carbon dioxide concentration within the upper water layer. So we have seen this the parameter and how it is affecting. So marine current keeps the water masses in motion and ensure, for example, that new deep water is constantly brought to the surface in the upwelling zone where it can engage in gas exchange within the atmosphere. So the surface water thus contains carbon in the three dissolved form. So what this dissolved form we will see as a first one as a carbon dioxide. So what happens with the carbon dioxide, one get it mixed with the seawater, The first one we are seeing carbon dioxide, which can also be released into the atmosphere again. So this carbon dioxide can released back into the atmosphere. So it makes up only about 1% of the carbon stored in the ocean, but it determines the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide for the seawater, and this partial pressure is the driving force for mixing this carbon dioxide from atmosphere to the seawater. Talking about the chemical equilibrium reaction in regard of this, the first form, that is we are talking carbon dioxide. So when the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere increases, it usually leads to a rise in the carbon dioxide concentration in the surface water of the ocean within a few months. As carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, a chemical change occurs in the surface water because carbon dioxide does not simply dissolve in the sea. So what happens? A certain proportion of the CO2 reacts with the water molecule, and what it forms? It forms the carbonic acid. So with very few exceptions, these molecules in turn immediately split into hydrogen carbonate plus hydrogen cation, which is nothing but the proton. So what we see, some are not getting reacted, but some portion is simply, once we dissolve this carbon dioxide get it dissolved in the sea, a certain portion of the CO2 reacts with water, and what it forms? It forms the carbonic acid. And the next process, what it happens, some carbonic acid, it will be in the carbonic acid, but rest what it happens, it will immediately split into hydrogen carbonate, and one more thing, that is your hydrogen cation, that is nothing but the proton. So if the hydrogen carbonate loses another proton, a carbonate anion is formed. So what is happening? We have seen carbon dioxide, then it forms the carbonic acid, then there is immediately split, and then we getting hydrogen carbonate plus one hydrogen cation. After this hydrogen cation again loses another proton, and it forms the carbonate anion is formed. So the second we do have carbon dioxide does exist. So one form we do have the carbon dioxide, the another one as a hydrogen carbonate, which accounts for around 90% of the carbon stored in the ocean. So in which form it is storing? 90% of the carbon is getting stored in the ocean as a hydrogen carbonate. And one more we have as carbonate, which it should be noted is not only formed as a result of a carbonic acid chain reaction, which just now we have seen this, it forms a hydrogen carbonate. So when we do talk about the carbonate, we should be noting that it is not only formed as a result of a carbonic acid chain reaction, but is also released as a result of a rock and mineral withering on the land. So what is the another source we do have? Result of a rock and mineral withering on the land. So this is the three way we do have it. So as we can see this diagram, so it shows that how on the equatorial there is a mixing of a carbon dioxide takes place. So the ocean does not absorb the same amount of a carbon dioxide from the atmosphere everywhere in the world. So as this map illustrates, carbon dioxide uptake occurs primarily in the cold southern Ocean and the North Atlantic and North Pacific Ocean, that is showing in blue in color. So if we do see this warm tropical region, on the other hand, this the one on equatorial, the ocean releases considerably more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than it absorbs. That's showing in the red in color. So this is the thing when we do talk about how this ocean everywhere it is not absorbing. So this is what it is being shown, this ocean is not absorbing carbon dioxide similar across all this area. So it does depend, are we in the colder region or are we in the warmer region we are talking about. So this is the data, net carbon dioxide flux between atmosphere and ocean between 1994 to 2007. So we do see this three form of the carbon dioxide, as a carbon dioxide, as hydrogen carbonate, or as a carbonate. Moving on, these three forms exist in a balanced state of a concentration equilibrium with each other, which means that a change in one parameter immediately leads to compensating reaction in the other two. So as an important example, when water and dissolved carbon dioxide reacts to form carbonic acid, hydrogen carbonate is also formed. So this results in decrease in the proportion of the dissolved carbon dioxide in the seawater, thus the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide. So once this carbon dioxide, dissolved carbon dioxide will reduce in the seawater, what the next thing will get it reduced? This partial pressure of the carbon dioxide. So as a result, what happens? The ocean takes up more new carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in order to balance the partial pressure between ocean and the atmosphere. So the chemical chain reaction then start again from the beginning, which we to talk about. So this process, however, cannot be continued indefinitely. So this carbon dioxide absorption shifts the concentration equilibrium between dissolved carbon dioxide, carbonic acid, hydrogen carbonate and carbonate to such an extent that carbon dioxide uptake by the surface water will eventually come to standstill unless other additional or new processes disturb or shift the equilibrium again. So now we do talk about ocean acidification. Before that, we were talking how the carbon dioxide, in which form we do have in the seawater once it carbon dioxide will be taken up from the atmosphere to sea. Now let's move to ocean acidification. So it is nothing but a matter of a free proton. So the proton released by carbonic acid increases the acidity of the water. So wherever there is a presence of a proton, what it does, it will lead for increasing the acidity. So it is leading increasing the acidity of water. If the ocean absorbs large amount of additional carbon dioxide, the sea is in danger of acidifying, which results in deteriorated living condition for many marine organisms. So the number of protons actually released by the carbonic acid reaction, however, depends on the acid binding capacity of the seawater. So this is determined by acid binding components of the mineral origin. That means again we are talking about the carbonate in the water that originate primarily on the land. They have been dissolving there over millions of years through the withering of the rock and thus eventually washed into the sea by rainwater, brooks and rivers. So if the proportion of this influx of acid binding solution products of a rock withering is large, the sea water has a high acid capacity binding. So scientists also refer to this water as having a high alkalinity. So in this situation, a large number of protons are not even actually released, but in course of the carbonic reaction are immediately bound by the introduced solution product. So this hydrogen carbonate is produced in this reaction as well, while the carbonate mineral is broken down and acidification of the water is buffered. So if the water only contains a small amount of acid binding components of a mineral origin, however the acid binding capacity would be limited. So the number of the free proton increases and the sea becomes increasingly acidified. So this is the one which we were talking about the uptake. So this is the figure it explained. So moving on. So when considered over periods of millions of years, the Earth's carbon cycle always compensate for carbon dioxide content of the sea by the influx of the withered acid binding mineral. For example, we can take if the carbon dioxide concentration increases both in the sea and the atmosphere, the warming of the two systems will lead. And in the long term, to an increase in the withering of the rock both on land and on the sea floor. So this results in large amounts of minerals being carried into the sea and reduction in the acidity of water, and ocean again take up more CO2 from the atmosphere in order to re-establish the concentration equilibrium which we have discussed. So this decreases the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere and warming slow down. So this process again requires the millions of years. So this is all we do talk today. So what was the discussion today is about? We have started the ocean carbon sequestration, and we get the idea of how the process works, and we have talked one part of it. In the next class I will again proceed with the topic and the other aspects of ocean biological carbon sequestration we will talk about. So this is all for today. See you in the next class. Thank you.